Hello, everybody, and welcome to our training video that is going to go a little more in depth into the head-to-toe assessment on the visit forms. So in a previous video, we went over high level about the visit forms, how to create them, how to access them, and went over a little bit about each of the tabs. But I didn't really get into a lot of detail on the head-to-toe assessment. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. You can see I'm already in my visit forms. I already am in the head-to-toe section. The first thing I want to point out is this use comprehensive assessment up on the top. So the system knows if you are the same nurse who did that comprehensive assessment and plan of care within the same shift time, and it will let you use that comprehensive assessment as your head to toe. Now, if you are not seeing this and you're the one who created that comprehensive assessment, you got to make sure that it's within the same start and end time, right? Both the comprehensive assessment and the visit forms need to be launched within this. But if you do have this option, if you click this, you can see the rest of the head to toe goes away, and you just have to select, is this an infusion visit or is it a wound care visit? Because we're going in depth in the head to toe, I'm going to unclick this right now. But I just wanted to show that option. Now, most people start from top to bottom and just work their way through the head to toe. It is pretty nice. There are some areas, so for allergies, it just says, are there any changes? Yes or no. Medications, are there any changes? The nice thing is if you put yes, it does remind you to update the order section. Okay. Are they adhering to their medications? Yes or no? If I put no, I do have to put why. And then medication reconciliation. You should be making sure that there's no medication changes during every visit. Vital signs, skilled care does require a set of vital signs. Now, the patient has the right to decline, and if they do so, you just mark no and put in the description box that they declined, right? The system is set up on the visit form so that you can enter multiple sets of vitals. You would just hit the plus sign, enter whatever vitals you need to enter, hit update, and it will save. And then you can come back here at any time. So say I was charting on the wound care tab, and then I want to come back, enter another set of vitals. I can come back here, hit the plus sign, add another set. Pain. Are they experiencing pain? Yes or no? If I hit no, I don't have to do anything else. If I hit yes, it does open up my pain assessment. And then most of this head to toe is set up to chart by exception. What does that mean, right? It means that if they don't have any psychological issues, I could put no stated problem, and it means that the rest of this is within normal limits. A caution to that, I mean, you should always chart to your client and to their pertinent diagnoses and make sure that the care that you're provided is adequately reflected in your charting. You also need to make sure that your agency doesn't have any other specific policies. Like maybe they want you to chart a certain section, even though it's not required in the system. So make sure when you're learning the training, if there's any agency specific policies that you need to know. But that's how the system was designed. So if your client doesn't have a lot of issues, it's really not that bad to go through and hit no stated problem. One thing to note in the endocrine section, we do have a nice diabetic monitoring section built in. So if you are doing diabetic monitoring, everything's right here that you need, which is nice. If they're not diabetic, you're not doing diabetic monitoring, you don't have to fill it out. I will say that when you're first learning the system, it is going to take you a little bit longer. And that's natural because you need to learn where all the checkboxes are and where everything is. Know that the more you use the system, the more comfortable you're going to get and the faster it's going to be to go through this. There is a section to indicate if there's a ventilator or tracheostomy, gastrointestinal. We do have last bowel movement. Oh, I will show you. So areas like catheter and ostomy too on gastrointestinal. If I click this, it does prompt me for more information, right? Otherwise, you always have the comment boxes in every section if there's something else that you need to specify. Sensory, this pulled over from the comprehensive assessment. You just need to review this, say whether there's changes or there's no changes. And note, if I do say there's changes, I do have to put in a comment. Okay. Integumentary, so there is a required field here. Is there a wound, yes or no? If I select yes, another question will pop up. Is BrightStar administering wound care during this shift? Yes or no? Because we do know that sometimes there is a wound present that BrightStar is not managing, right? So you can hit no and move on. If I hit yes, the wound care form is now required. And that means that this tab here needs to be filled out before you can sign out. Intravenous status, something similar. Is BrightStar administering an infusion this shift? Yes or no? If I hit yes, the infusion form's required. Current IV site, yes or no? Because you could be administering an infusion, but they don't have an IV already. You're starting the IV during the shift, right? So you could hit no and move on, and then you'll document your IV start in the infusion tab. Or if you hit yes, it prompts you for the site assessment. Education and teaching is built right into your head to toe. So any education that you've done with the client, you put in here. Client family expectations and goals. This flows over from the comprehensive assessment. So whoever did the comprehensive assessment selected appropriate goals for the client. You just have to come in here, mark whether it's met, which means that they met all of this goal, right? And you don't have to turn on it anymore. Not met, renew, or not met, do not renew. So maybe this is no longer applicable to the client, or the client doesn't want to address it. So you could hit not met, do not renew, and this will drop it off from the next visit form. Most of the time it's going to be not met, renew. Your plan of care, you do have to chart whether or not that you went over the plan of care with your client and whether or not they understood. This is a care coordination section. So if you make any phone calls during your shift to the doctor or a family member, maybe you're an LPN giving a report to RN, or you're calling PTOT to collaborate with them, you could document that here. That's what the section is for. Some people do put it in a narrative note in the note section up here. Either way is okay unless you have an agency specific policy, but know that this section does exist. And then we always have the state specific requirements because again, this is used nationwide. States do vary. All right, so that is your more in-depth detail of the head to toe assessment. Stay tuned for the more in-depth videos on infusion and wound care. Thanks, everybody.